And we're back. It's going to seem intimidating at first modeling this character. Where do we start? It's such a large character. There's so much to do. Why don't we go ahead and start on the legs? So we're going to start with a cylinder right here. We're going to be doing polygonal modeling as before. You guys know the hotkeys. But I'm just going to start right down here with his shin. And I'm just going to scale this cylinder up, move it into place. And I will be using these two viewports quite a bit. So I'm actually going to drag this all the way up. And I'm going to get rid of this outliner for right now because I don't need it. I want all the screen real estate that I can get. In fact, I'm going to go into expert mode here with Alt and spacebar. That way I have access to both of these viewports and I can go and look at them just by sliding these around. Okay, so what I want to do is, you can see in this viewport I've got to rotate it to match that angle, and in this viewport obviously I have to scale it down. What will help is if we actually put these in X-ray mode. So if we just go up here and hit this button, you can kind of see through, and I'll go ahead and do the same thing over here. This lets us see what we're doing quite a bit better. So let's go ahead and start adding, or start getting the overall shape correct. We'll go into vertice mode here, and I will scale these down. In fact, I don't think we need this many subdivisions. So before we even start modeling, let's go ahead and crank down the subdivisions on this. Go over here to your attribute editor. Let's go grab this cylinder, and right here, we'll just crank down our subdivisions because we really don't need 20. We'll add subdivisions as we need them. You know my motto, add them later, add detail later. So we'll just leave it at 10 subdivisions. That looks good. We'll go back in, get rid of this attribute editor, and let's go back into vertice mode, and we'll scale these down, move them over. Same thing up here, scale them down, move them over. And then right here you can tell we have a way off, so I can go ahead and move these over like that. I could have rotated this as well. There's a lot of different ways to do the same job. I'll actually move that up a little bit and over. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and extrude that. These faces here on the front, I might have to go into this top viewport over here, and we'll select all these top faces, shift click them all, and we'll go ahead and extrude, Control E, and move those up. Let me go back over to this viewport, and really quickly, all we're doing right now is we're trying to rough out our model, and it will be rough at first. That's the beauty of polygonal modeling. You do a very rough version first, and then you come back. And so this is a problem that you may see, and this is totally easy. What happened is when I moved it over in this viewport, I actually moved it past the plane right here. Okay, so I can just move that. Sorry, I'll select that object right there and just move it forward so that we can see what we're doing here. Okay, so we may have a problem with that. That's okay. As you can see, so we will have to solve that because we have that sharp angle there. We're actually losing it right here. So what we may have to do is select this and move it back in space, just like that. Okay, then we get our object back, and we can still continue proportionally modeling. So all I did was I moved the image plane back in Z-space. Okay, so that problem is now solved. Let's go ahead, continue selecting this object. We'll continue modeling. We'll go into face mode here, and we still have all these faces selected, so we can extrude again. Go ahead and Control E. We'll move that up, and I'll select those vertices, scale them down a bit, and see here. Actually, you know, we're going to take them down to right here because we're going to cut them up here, and we're going to mirror the leg over in just a second. But first, let's go ahead and scale these to where I think they might go. Something like that looks good. Then Control E again with the faces in face mode. Looks like I lost the selection of the faces. And let's go ahead and grab in the modeling toolkit this drag selection, because that will be a lot quicker. We'll just drag that selection out and then Control E and move that up to about there. And now I will go ahead and delete these front polygons here. So if we go in here in our model, if we go in here to our model, we actually want to select these faces right here. And they're kind of hard to see with all this going on, but we want to select, I could just go over here. We want to select these two front faces here on this cylinder, and they're kind of hard to see with this image plane in here. Okay, so this image plane is getting in our way and we have to do something about it. It's good to know the hotkeys. I will select it, I'll go to the outliner here and I'll go ahead and hide my image plane, Control H, just for a second so we can see what we're doing here. And then I'll select these two faces and I'll go ahead and delete them. So just hit the delete key with those selected, and now we have that opening there. Now I'll go ahead and unhide this, Control Shift H, and we've got it back. Let's go back into our other views here. You can tell we're going to need a lot of subdivisions here, and let's go ahead real quick and do that. So I'll go back into this viewport. I'll select my leg here, and we'll just add a little bit of detail where we know we're going to need it. Depending on how, and we have kind of a goal of having a very complex model that looks very realistic, so we probably will add a lot of detail. However, like I said, you don't add detail until you absolutely need it. And a great way of adding detail is actually with the Add Edge tool. You know how to use it. This Insert Edge loop right here. So we'll go ahead, and it looks like we're still on dual. I'll undo that, go back in here, and we'll reset settings here on this tool. Okay, so I'm going to drag in some details here where I think we can use them. Going further down the leg, right here. And some of you are ahead of me and thinking, are we going to have to do everything twice for all the limbs? Nope. We're going to use an age-old trick called instancing. It makes it super simple. Let's just go ahead and add that much detail and see where we're at. I'll go back into Q, go into vertice mode, and I'll select these and I'll start scaling them. Oh, once again, I'm probably going to want in the modeling toolkit the pick marquee tool, and I'll select all these and just start scaling them and moving them into place. And then we'll go into the other viewport and we'll do the same thing. And we're basically trying to get a very rough, we're basically just trying to get the rough fit form of our alien. And it seems very crude and it seems like this will never work, but after a while you'll start to see that this comes into shape and we'll really have something cool going on. And all I'm doing is scaling and moving points. Then we'll go into the other image viewport and we'll do the same thing. It seems tedious, but once you start building characters like this, you'll realize, wow, I can build a very complex character with very simple operations. And as you can see here, we're very quickly, in this viewport at least, and in this view frame, we're modeling a very complex character. And we probably should give him a name. Should probably be something noble, like Mordor or something. Or wait, that's too Lord of the Ringsy. Okay, so this can be pretty easy and fun. And I kind of find it relaxing modeling, and the better you get at it and the more you understand it, the more you'll relax. So this looks good in this viewport. We need to hop back over to this viewport and you'll see we have quite a bit to fix. But you see, or you should hopefully be starting to see, that you definitely need a profile image and a front image in order to make this work. And you need to add more detail to make it work. Like right here, we don't have enough detail in this to do all the shapes and form. But we will add detail as we go, and it's very easy to add detail, so I'm not worried about that right now. I just want to get the rough shape in. Some of you guys who really enjoy this will go in and create extreme amounts of detail, and you're going to make excellent modelers. I'm excited to see what you guys come up with here. This is a simple thing. Don't think of this as complicated. It's literally just filling in the lines like you were a kid with crayons. It's that simple, and I want you to think about it like that. If I just move these points into the right place, I can model something pretty complex. I just need to start out with a good reference image, front and back, or front and profile view. All right, and I was lucky enough to have one of my senior designers put this illustration together for me really quickly. She does an excellent job. I'm quite proud of her. So just moving through there, moving points around like a boss. And we'll get into some other operations like sliding the edges around, and we'll probably be curving them around too. But for right now, it's just roughing the shape out. All I'm doing is scaling and moving. It's that simple. Okay, and it looks pretty good. Now let's go look at the fruit of our labor over here. Once again, we're probably going to have to smooth this. So what we can do is hit the 3 hotkey, and we can see kind of a smooth version of our leg here. And in the next video, I'll go ahead and mirror this over and instance it so that whenever we make a change here, it makes a change over here. I'll see you in the next video.